Hey everyone, Rich Gasaway here. I'm planning the biggest situational awareness event I've ever done. September 26th is National Situational Awareness Day, and I'm taking that a step further and declaring September to be National Situational Awareness Month. I'm looking for program hosts to help me fill the month with events throughout the United States and Canada. If you're interested in helping me to make this event a success, please contact me through the Contact Us tab on the samatters.com website. If you want to train your members online, you can do that too by enrolling them in the Situation Awareness Matters Online Academy. The Academy will teach your members everything they need to know about situational awareness and high-risk decision-making for a crazy affordable price. If you enroll 31 or more of your members, the cost for the Academy is just $49 a member. Why did I set the price so low? Because I don't want any department to be able to say that cost was a prohibiting factor in getting their members trained on this vitally important topic. The Academy just opened for enrollment in January, and we've already had more than 700 students enroll. Did you know that issues related to situational awareness are consistently identified as contributing factors in near-miss, injury, and fatality events? Please don't wait. Don't wait until your agency has a critical injury or fatality incident. Don't wait. I get to work with many departments who have experienced critical injuries and fatality incidents, and I can tell you they're some of the most hurting organizations you can imagine. I don't want that to happen for you. Seriously, I can help you take your understanding of situational awareness and high-risk decision-making to the level it needs to be. Visit samatters.com, click on the green button on the right side of the homepage labeled Online Academy. To our premium enrolled students in the Academy, they get to participate in a monthly webinar where I have guests talk about important safety topics. It's very popular with the premium students. This month's webinar guest was Joe Pernesti talking about how to incorporate simulations into your command training. The next webinar is scheduled for July 16th and will feature former Washington, D.C. Fire Chief Dennis Rubin talking about fireground safety. Premium enrolled students will get a notification sent to you in the course room along with your login credentials. Okay, that's enough of the pre-show stuff. Roll that podcast intro. Today's episode is sponsored by Midwest Fire. For more than 20 years, Midwest Fire has been manufacturing high-quality tankers, tanker pumpers, and fire rescue vehicles in the United States and Canada. Keeping firefighters safe while enhancing their capabilities is what they do best. To learn more, go to MidwestFire.com.
This is Captain Ricky Mahaffey from the Waynesville Fire Department, and you are listening to SA Matters radio show with Dr. Rich Gasaway. The SA Matters mission is simple. They want to help us see the bad things coming in time to avoid bad outcomes.
Hello and welcome to episode 164 of the Situational Awareness Matters radio show. I'm your host, Rich Gasaway. The purpose of this show is to improve situational awareness and decision-making for individuals who work in high-risk, high-consequence, time-compressed environments with changing conditions. The SA Matters mission is simple, to help you see the bad things coming and time to avoid bad outcomes. If you're new to the podcast, you have some homework to do by going back and listening to some of the past episodes. I've released a new episode every Tuesday, never missed a week, for 3 consecutive years. And I do that for you, the listeners to this show. You inspire me to work harder. I've been sharing the message of situational awareness and high-risk decision-making in live program events for 12 years now, and I've trained just over 59,000 first responders. I'm here for the long run, and for so long as I'm able, I'll continue to share this message, a message of hope, a message of inspiration, and a message of encouragement for all first responders who want to make sure they're able to develop and maintain strong situational awareness and make quality, high-risk decisions. I'm dedicated to helping to improve your safety and your survival, and helping you to accomplish the most important goal of all, to go home to the ones who love you. And speaking of sharing the message, I'm coming to you today from Colorado Springs, where I'm in town to deliver a flawed situational awareness, the Stealth Killer of First Responders program for members of the Colorado Springs Fire Department and other departments in the region. We had a great turnout today, and the group was really engaged and interactive. I loved it. Thank you so much for all the kind feedback you shared with me during and after the program. One of the questions I get asked a lot by readers and listeners are, when are you coming to my area? Or I want to attend a program. Where are you going to be next? Great questions. And the answers are really easy to find out. There's a link to my upcoming events schedule on the SA Matters homepage. Just click on the blue box on the right side of the homepage labeled Upcoming Events Schedule. I feel blessed to have some very exciting presentation opportunities on the horizon, including Fire Rescue International in Charlotte, North Carolina, presenting for the NASA Glenn Research Center in Cleveland, Ohio, the Situational Awareness Month celebration that I mentioned. I'm going to be doing an Australia tour in programs in Sydney, Melbourne, and Perth, and a New Zealand tour with programs in Christchurch, Auckland, and Wellington, and a European tour with programs in Amsterdam and Antwerp. I'm also going to be doing programs for the Phillips 66 petroleum refineries. If you're interested in hosting a Situational Awareness Matters tour stop for 2017, there are only a few dates remaining, and I'm very actively booking the 2018 programs now. So if you think your department or your association or your regional conference or your state conference or your company, yes, I do programs for business and industry too, would be interested in hosting a program, just contact me through the samatters.com website, Contact Us tab, and we'll get something set up for you. It's not a hard process, I promise. If you want to save some money on hosting a program, and who doesn't want to save some money, right? Here's a tip on how you can get a program at a reduced cost. You've heard me probably mention several times companion programs. These are programs on adjoining days to other programs. So if you see I'm delivering a program within a few hours of your department and you think you might want to tag along as a companion, contact me. You can save as much as 20% off the program cost by being a companion to an existing program. And I do about 30 of these companions a year, and no one ever complains about saving money. That's what I did recently when I was doing some consulting for the Navy in New England. I did companion programs for Hartford, Connecticut, Stoughton, Massachusetts, and Belmont, Massachusetts. All of them took advantage of some nice discounts. And again, no one complained. That's what I call a win-win. Okay, in today's feature segment, I'm going to talk about the process for predicting the future, the third step in the process of forming situational awareness, and sadly, also one of the steps most often overlooked or errors made by first responders. And when I'm done with the feature segment, stick around, and I'll tell you where you can attend an upcoming Situational Awareness Matters Tour Stop event. Who knows, maybe I'm going to be right in your state or right in your county soon. Developing situational awareness is a three-step process that starts first with perception, and then understanding, and finally, prediction. Prediction is the process of anticipating future events before they happen. The way you do this is you run some mental options in your mind prior to taking action. So let's assume you arrive on the scene of a working residential dwelling fire, and you have to decide what to do. You get in your mind a potential action plan. Then you run a mental movie or mental options in your head to see if that plan works. If it works, then perhaps you would implement. If it doesn't work, then you wouldn't implement. You would run another option or make another plan and try to game that out in your head to see if it would work. This is sometimes called forecasting or projections. Stephen Covey wrote a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's the #1 best-selling all-time business book worldwide. And in that book, Stephen talks about one of the habits that directly apply to how we would make predictions at emergency scenes. And that is to begin with the end in mind. To begin with the end in mind means to set a target or a goal or an objective prior to implementing any physical action toward an outcome. You do this by setting the target or the objective in your mind, so as you start to perform the task, you can periodically check back in to see if your progress is helping you to accomplish the goal toward the objective. Absent any objective, you might find yourself off task and not realizing you're off task because you don't have a goal in mind. As you're preparing to take action, say at a residential dwelling fire, I want you to ask yourself a question that would help you to be able to anticipate the future potential outcomes of the incident. So let's imagine, for the sake of this example, a single-family residential dwelling, not an exceptionally large or small house, say 2 to 3 bedrooms, a living room, a kitchen, a bathroom or 2, and maybe a garage. As you're preparing yourself to take some action, after you complete your 360 size up, ask yourself this question. Where is this event headed? And the event is this residential dwelling fire. Where is this event headed if we do nothing but watch? Now, I'm not advocating that as a strategy, but just imagine that as a mindset for a moment to ask yourself, where is this residential fire event headed if we don't do anything but watch? If you understand the principles of fire behavior and some basic physics, you would understand that that fire is headed in one of 2 certain directions, if it hasn't happened already before you arrive. The first is a flashover. The heat up of contents in a room, the smoke rises to the ceiling, the smoke banks down. As the smoke banks down, it heats up other things. As other things heat up, they begin to decompose and off-gas, and that off-gas is smoke, and smoke is fuel, and the fuel builds up, and eventually with the introduction of oxygen into the superheated environment, you will have a flashover. The second thing that is likely to happen if you do nothing but watch is that the fire will continue to grow and consume contents and begin to burn the components of construction. As the components of construction burn, the building's greatest enemy, gravity, will be forcing down onto that building at a constant rate, and the building will lose the battle, and gravity will win, and the building will come down. Now, the blinding flash of obvious statement is don't be inside when flashover or collapse occurs. And you might say that didn't even need to be said. But if you look at the residential dwelling fires and the number of times that flashover and collapse are the contributing factors to critical injuries and fatalities, then you know that it needs to be said. There's a disconnect between hearing it in a podcast or in a classroom where you've got your calm, collected, rational thinking brain working, and what happens when we're in a high-risk, high-consequence environment out on a fire ground. It changes. The brain changes function biologically, chemically, emotionally, physically, and psychologically. And that impacts our ability to think rationally through some of our actions. And we go in sometimes into automatic mode and performing things without really a lot of conscious thought. So the next question I want you to ask when you're trying to predict the future is, how long is it going to take for the undesirable outcome to occur? And that being flashover or collapse. How long is it going to take for the undesirable outcome to occur? Think of it as windows of opportunity. At a residential dwelling fire, there's a window of opportunity that is closing on civilians as soon as the fire starts. Fortunately, most civilians are able to self-extricate before the window of opportunity closes, but some are not, and the window continues to close while they're inside. What we hope is that we're able to arrive and perform a rescue before the window of civilian opportunity for the civilian survivability closes. If that window closes prior to our arrival, there will be nothing we can do. There will be a civilian fatality because the window for their survivability has closed. What we hope is that we're able to arrive on the scene before the window closes and get in and do our rescue before that opportunity is is past us. There's also a second window of opportunity, and that is the window of firefighter survivability. That window closes a little bit slower for us because we have an advantage. We have turnout gear, SCBA, hose, water, tools, thermal imaging, and training. And that allows us to stay in that environment longer than civilians. But no doubt about it, the window of survivability for firefighters is also closing. What we hope is we arrive on the scene before that window has closed so that we can perform rescues and save property. If that window has closed prior to our arrival, flashover and collapse on the way, then that window is closing quickly, and what we hope is that we can arrive and engage and do our work before that window of opportunity closes completely, and we don't want to be inside when that window of opportunity closes because we will become a victim. Every event unfolds at a certain speed or a certain pace, and it is critically important to keep track of the passage of time. So important, in fact, that I built that into the definition that I used for situational awareness. Situational awareness, by my definition, is the ability to perceive and understand what is happening in the environment around you in the context of how time is passing, and then in turn be able to make accurate predictions about future events in time to avoid bad outcomes. If we lose track of the passage of time, by definition, situational awareness will be flawed. The next thing we need to do in the prediction of outcomes is set expectations. One of the questions we would ask when setting expectations are, can we change the outcome? Can we change this outcome? When we arrive, we want to change the outcome. We train to change the outcome. We even take oaths of office to change the outcome. But can we, in honest assessment, change the outcome? We can't change every outcome. I have spent a lot of time studying firefighter fatality reports, and I think that if those firefighters who died in the line of duty could say anything to us, as I have read it in the reports, it would be this: don't get in the way of outcomes you can't change. Unfortunately, that's what so many of them did. Got in the way of outcomes they couldn't change. Got in the way of flashovers they weren't going to be able to stop. Got in the way of collapses that they weren't going to be able to stop. If you get in the way of an outcome you can't change, you will become a victim of the outcome. So you have to ask yourself, are the conditions right to change the outcome? If the conditions are right, by all means engage. If the conditions aren't right, then try to make the conditions right, improving them, maybe killing a flashover prior to entry, and then make entry. Ask yourself, do we have the right resources? Now, if we're honest with ourselves, we know that not all members of our department are created equal in knowledge, skills, ability, fitness, stamina, fear, and phobias. And that assessment of our crews, what makes up our crew and the quality of that crew, is critical in the formation of situational awareness. In fact, awareness of the crew is one type of situational awareness that we have to be able to develop and assess to be able to know whether we have the right resources to get the task done. We also have to pay attention to things like pump capacity, water supply, how long firefighters can make SCBAs last. You know, it might have a 30-minute bottle, but you might only be able to make it last 17 minutes under stress. And having an awareness of the resources as well. And then ask yourself, can we operate faster than conditions are changing? Can we get in and do what we need to do before the windows of opportunity close? The last question to ask yourself is, how much time do we have? There's not an unlimited amount of time at a fire with fast-changing conditions. The time is very limited. The windows are closing, and asking yourself, how much time do we have before those windows of opportunity will close? To be able to predict the future, you use your imagination. You use what is called your mind's eye to be able to answer these questions and to be able to anticipate what's going to happen before it happens. And this whole process is done prior to the physical engagement of any firefighting activity. It's a mental process to be able to anticipate the outcome prior to engagement. If you've experienced or witnessed a near miss and would like to have a platform to share your lessons learned with others, please contact me by visiting the samatters.com site and clicking on the Contact Us link on the top of the homepage. Think about it for a moment. The lessons learned from your near-miss event could save the life of another first responder. Why would you not want to share your lessons? I promise the interview will be friendly and fun. If you want to share your experience, contact me. Okay, as I always do, I want to take a moment to thank the departments and organizations that have hosted some great training for their members on situational awareness. I do this to show my appreciation to the organizations who put forth the effort to advertise and fund great training experiences. Your efforts to bring this valuable and powerful training to your members in your region are greatly appreciated. The recent tour stops included FDNY Incident Management Team, the Ontario Fire Chiefs Association Conference, the Ontario Fire Training Officers Association Conference, the Hartford, Connecticut Fire Department, the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard in Kittery, Maine, and where I am now with the Colorado Springs Fire Department in Colorado Springs, Colorado. By the time this episode airs, I will have also completed a program for the Beaver Lake Fire Department in Arkansas. And I will be in the middle of doing a week-long Company Officer Development Institute program for the Woodlands Fire Department in Texas. In case you've not heard me talk about this before, it's a week-long program designed to help company officers be successful with preventing and extinguishing the fires inside the firehouse. We address leadership challenges, conflict resolution, communication skills, teamwork, problem solving, workload management, generational issues, and so much more. And the best part about it? No PowerPoint. That's right. We use adult facilitated learning techniques that makes the class enjoyable and it makes the lessons stick. The goal is to help keep problems out of the chief's office. This is our 31st offering of the week-long version of the Company Officer Development Institute. There are shorter versions too. If you're interested in hosting some kick-ass, no-holds-barred leadership training for your company officers, contact me. When I get home from the Woodlands, I'm going to take my annual trip to the Boundary Waters Wilderness Canoe area. This is the highlight of my summer, and it's something that I've done every year for the past 15 years. No phones, no lights, no motor cars, not a single luxury. Like Robinson Crusoe, it's primitive as could be. Only some of my audience is going to get that reference. If you didn't, just Google it. If you want to see the locations of all the upcoming Situational Awareness Matters tour stops, head over to the SA Matters website and click on the blue box on the right side of the homepage labeled Upcoming Events Schedule. The schedule is always changing, so check back often. The last time I delivered situational awareness programs in southwest Minnesota, I stopped by and visited the sponsor for this podcast show, Midwest Fire. Midwest Fire makes all poly-bodied fire apparatus, and it's changing the industry. You seriously need to check them out at midwestfire.com. Anyhow, I had a chance to sit down and talk to a few of their employees about what separates Midwest Fire from their competitors. Let's listen in on the conversation I had here with account executive Dalton Lingbeck talking about the custom build and stock apparatus and inventory and how to start the process for designing and building a Midwest fire truck. All right, Dalton, do you guys do you do custom builds, or do you do stock builds, or do you do both? Do you maintain an inventory of trucks that people can just, buy today and have delivered tomorrow? How does all that work?
Well, we actually do both, and as much as we can keep stock trucks on hand, we have an inventory, but that's the hard part. We do a lot of custom trucks every year. It's what we do. I mean, we are here to build what the department needs. But we also do stock trucks because a lot of people are in immediate need of a truck. We do stock 3000s, we do stock 2000s, we do stock brush trucks. It really depends on what has gone out the door. We try to slot out 2 production spots a quarter for stock units. And on our website, you'll see stock units on our website. You'll see descriptions for them. You'll see specs, but they're not necessarily always in stock. They're standard builds, quote unquote. So the best thing for you to do is, if you're in need of a truck sooner than later, don't hesitate and call us up and see what we have on hand. Because right now, I'm looking out the window into our showroom, and we have a stock 3000 sitting there right now. It's ready to go whenever, whoever needs it.
Yeah, Dalton, you just threw a question into my mind. And if somebody is, thinking at some point they're going to need a fire truck, how far in advance of needing a fire truck should somebody at least start to make an inquiry and start to have a conversation and establish a rapport and relationship? I'm guessing it's something short of waking up today and saying we need a truck tomorrow, but putting some thought in the process of what would we want our new truck to have and whether they have a committee or not. How far you have a lot of dealings with a lot of customers, and I'm sure you see ones that really have it together and ones that are struggling and challenged. How far out for those ones that you would call the success stories? How far out before they actually get to a purchase does this dance or this process begin of working with somebody who can help them through the process?
Well, if I understand your question correctly, we're going to kind of not include the people that need an apparatus immediately.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Most success stories, honestly, are 6 months and more. You really want to get an idea of what truck you need and what truck you guys are going to spec out. The specking out process is the hardest part because you're talking with a lot of people trying to get ideas on the paper, and that's what we are here for. We're here to talk about that. But the cool thing with us is, obviously, like I said in a previous question, is that we are direct communication, right? We're directly at the facility. So all questions that we can answer are going to be answered no matter what. But what you want to do is you want to get specs on the paper, you want to go through those specs, and you want to make sure everything is accurate, because the worst thing that can happen is for a truck to be incomplete or wrong when you take delivery of it. That's what we try to make sure does not happen. So like I said, try to prepare as long as you can beforehand. Obviously, there are situations where it can build up, a couple weeks, and here we go. We try to make it as easy as possible for you, try to make it as comfortable as possible for you. But yeah, prepare.
Oh, there you go. If you're thinking about buying a truck, don't wake up on Monday and say we need to buy a truck on Tuesday. Put some thought into it. Reach out to Midwest Fire. Have some conversations and start to get some ideas flowing. As you heard from Dalton, the best success stories are those that start about 6 months before they're going to actually buy the truck, of just gathering thoughts and ideas and trying to see what's available and what's best for them. So check them out, MidwestFire.com.
Thank you, Midwest Fire President Sarah Atchison and all your staff for your awesome commitment to improving first responder safety. I sincerely appreciate your support of the SA Matters mission. If you're not a member of the SA Matters community of learners yet, consider joining. There are over 5,000 members connected here on SA Matters, sharing ideas about how to improve situational awareness, how to make better decisions under stress, and how to train members to be critical thinkers and resilient problem solvers. Membership is free, and when you sign up, I'll send you a special report I've created for the new members called 25 Best Practices for Improving First Responder Safety. Joining also gets you my monthly email newsletter that contains feature content from the blog and the podcast. It's really the best way for us to stay in touch with each other. If you're not a member yet, head over to the SA Matters website, click on the red box on the right side of the homepage labeled Free Membership. If you want to get connected with me on Twitter, you can follow @Rich Gasaway on Twitter. On LinkedIn, you can search for Rich Gasaway. On YouTube, you can watch my videos on the SA Matters TV channel. And on Facebook, you can like the SA Matters page on Facebook. Well, that's it. Episode 164 is complete. Thank you to our awesome podcast sponsor, Midwest Fire. Thank you to all of our live event hosts. Thank you to the more than 700 online academy students. And thank you, our listeners, for sharing some of your valuable time with me today. I do really appreciate your support of the SA Matters mission. Be safe out there, and may the peace of the Lord and strong situational awareness be with you always.
You've been listening to the Situational Awareness Matters radio show with Dr. Richard B. Gasaway. If you are interested in learning more about situational awareness, human factors, and decision-making under stress, visit samatters.com. If you are interested in booking Dr. Gasaway for an upcoming event, visit his personal website at richgasaway.com.